Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily and I'm so happy you're here. In today's video I will be going over every single book I read this year, which is going to be a lot because I read 110 books this year. I'm very excited to talk about them. Hope you're excited too. This is going to be so fucking fun, and I'll be going over them in very short sentences, like 1 to 2 sentences max, but I'm really like bam 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 bam, you know what I mean? But yeah, let's unbuild this tower of books because I'm getting kind of like scared out. So let's put those books down because those are all the books I read, plus 30 on my Kindle and audiobook and stuff. Those are technically, oh god, I'm scared. Yeah, those are all the books I read, plus 30 on my Kindle and ebook, and we're gonna go over each of them in very short sentences. Hope you're excited. I'm excited. Hope you ever like grab a snack, grab a drink, because it's gonna be a while probably. And yeah, hope you enjoy. Before we start, let me know what book you read this year and enjoyed the most. Like, what was your favorite? What was your least favorite? What was the book I really should read? Just like tell me all your stats. How many books did you read this year? I'm just excited to chat about it. You know what I mean? So yeah, let's start with the first book that I read this year, and that was Heartstopper Volume 5. And all I can say about this book is I don't know how a comic can be so happy and so gut-wrenching at the same time, but somehow this book managed to do that. Loved it. The next book I read was The Frozen River, which was a historical fiction book, and the craziest part about that book was that it was so sad and so real, and then I realized it was real life, it was based on a true story, and that was crazy. But yeah, would recommend. The next book that I read, that I currently don't have the copy with me because I lent it out to my sister, is Percy Jackson 1, and I'm so glad I finally got into Percy Jackson. All I can say about that one, but it was a great time. The next book that I read was The Martian by Andy Weir. I had to read that one for school for one of my classes, which was really fun to read such a contemporary novel. But yeah, this was just to show really that like how funny one person can be, because this one was just about one person. It was hilarious actually. Like, The Martian was extremely witty and fun. That was great. But that book, bam. I read The Brothers Hawthorne by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This one was giving me nothing. You know, it was just there, kind of. I don't know if I'm gonna read the next one though. But I like being back with the characters-ish. The next book I read was Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Finally, after seeing it for months on TikTok, it felt like it was one of those 8 books of the year, last year. And I finally read it, and honestly, what a lovely romance in a brutal war. I couldn't even imagine, but somehow it ended up being in this book, and it was great, and I loved it. Then I reread The Atlas 6 and The Atlas Paradox. I listened to both of them, and it was great. I just love those characters. Like, my favorite is definitely Nico and Gideon, and it's just so interesting to see what you can do with 6 extraordinary wizards, or like magicians I guess, and what they can do to society, I guess. And this just has my favorite ending of all time. Like, the last few sentences I got like underlined, like every single one of them is underlined, so I love it so much. Then a bit later, but I'm just gonna say it in one go because, you know, series, put them together. But I did read The Atlas Complex because that's why I reread the other 2, because this one came out, and oh my god, it was good. I wasn't disappointed, but that plot twist at the end, or not even the end, but like 100 pages before, really got me, and I'm like, why would you do that? I do Blake, like, why would you do that? I did not guess that at all, you know? Can't say I like it, obviously. But it was a great story, and I'm sad that it's over now. Like, why? You know, that's just mean. Then I decided to read Yellow Face by Rebecca F. Kuang, her newest book that is not part of like fantasy, it's just literary fiction. And wow, I want to go into publishing, and this kind of made me like, oh, do you really want to go into publishing? Because what the hell was going on with the people in this book? It was kind of crazy. Then I read a book on my Kindle, which was The Cat Who Saved Books. And you know what? Everybody should read this book. It was a really wholesome story about a cat saving the books, and like making you realize that you should never read books just to read more books. Like, the number of books really doesn't matter, and you should just read what you want to read. And that was just a really lovely story in like a very... Then I listened to The Woman in Me, the memoir by Britney Spears, and personally I did not know a lot about Britney Spears, and I'm really happy because now I know a lot more-ish. And it was a really sad story, to be honest. And the woman in me was really sad for her. Then I finished another series, which was one of my main goals this year. Did I manage to do too much on it? Ish. But I finished You, the series, so I've listened to Hidden Bodies, and there were a lot of hidden bodies. And it was kind of scary, and it made me like, oh, is somebody behind me? No, but I thought there was. But I mean, it's kind of fun. Love the audiobook. It's a really good audiobook, I'd say. Then I listened to The Writing Retreat, which was another thriller, and that was set in a like secluded house where like 6 or 5, I don't know how many writers came together to like write a new book and to win a prize, and then people started disappearing and all the shit's going down. It was a good listen, I would say. Not my favourite thought of the year, but like a good listen, would recommend. Then I listened to, or re-listened to, I guess, because this was really the subtle art of not giving a fuck. And, you know, it does make you be like, should I really give a fuck about this? And you really shouldn't. If you're thinking about something like, oh, do I need to care about that? No, just don't. Just do it. Don't give a fuck. Just do it, you know? Then I listened to the audiobook of Finding Me by Viola Davis. And all I can say is that I watched the TV shows How to Get Away with Murder, and then I listened to this book and I was like, whoa, I recognize that voice. Because the main character in that one, it was her audiobook, and I did not realize until I started listening to it. But it was a really fun surprise, and her story is, again, okay, sorry, my sister just called me, but yeah, Viola Davis, her story was again one of the saddest stories I've ever heard. Like, oh my goodness, the things she had to go through to become an actor, but she did it, you know? It's like one of those things where you're like, I can never be this type of person. Like, either if it's an actor, a lawyer, whatever you want to be. And then you see the story and like, she did it, even though she had to go through so many struggles. It's really inspiring. So I can say about that one. Good. Then I listened to the audiobook of Beartown and Us Against You, because I was gonna reread, not because I was gonna read the winners, which I'm later gonna talk about. But yeah, I love those books so much. That's why they are fucking edited as much as possible. And all I can say is that this is one of my favorite books of all time, and will probably never change. It was kind of funny because I for like my top books of 2024, and the first book I talked about was The Winners, and then I will went back and watched the video from 2023, and the first book I talked about was Beartown. So you know what? Yeah, that just describes me very well. And I love those books very, very much. Then I listened to the audiobook of I'm Glad My Mom Died Again. I guess I was really in a memoir phase. I kind of miss that phase. I want to go back because I love memoirs. But anyways, that is still one of my, like, that is still my favorite memoir of all time, and it is absolutely amazing. And like I said, my favorite, and that should say everything. You know what? And then I read Ruth S. Vows, the next book in the Divine Rebels duology. I don't know what the series is called. But anyways, loved it. It wasn't like as good as the first one. Like, I loved the first one so much, and then the second one was like 4 stars and the other one was 5 stars. But still, great story, great ending. A bit more war focused instead of like romance focused, but you know, gotta give it to her. Great duology. Loved it. Then I read The Stolen Heir by Holly Jackson just to finish that series. Still need to read the next one, but I just have no motivation at all. And I don't really remember a whole lot about it, so it was just kind of there, you know. I listened to it mostly and it was good-ish. Oh well, oh well. Then, oh, I didn't even put that there. That's so sad. Oh, well, I guess you can add one more book to my thumbnail, because I also read Wonka by Ronald Dales. That's because I watched the movie Wonka when it came out last year, and I absolutely fell in love with it. It was one of my favourite movies last year, and I really want to rewatch it. I know what happened yet, but this was so good, and that's why I decided to buy the book and read it. And honestly, great book. Like, look at that font. And that was probably the best part of it, but still, lovely story. Really fun, really, really quick read, you know? And then I read the second book in the Percy Jackson world. And this one, like, the first one was good, you know, but this one really, like, things started to pick up and stuff like that. We met a lot of new characters, and that was really good. And I just love Percy and all the characters so much. Then I listened to the audiobook The 4,000 Weeks, which was about self-help in some way. But I don't remember a whole lot about it. I think it just said work harder when you are working, so you have to work less when you aren't. but I can tell you. Anyways, then I read Pineapple Street, which is a book about a family who lives in New York who's really rich and is living on the Pineapple Street, which is, I think, a really rich street. And it was interesting, like, seeing like the rich people of New York like live and how they got rich, and I'm like, why am I not part of that? Because like, imagine how fun that would be. Sadly I'm not. I'm here in the basement in Germany. Oh well. But you know, in all good terms, it was fun. It was a fun audiobook. I don't know, I probably wouldn't listen to it again. Obviously didn't buy it because it was not one of my favorites, but you know. Then I read Bride by Ellie Hazelwood. I was very scared to buy it because I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this, and then I heard so many great things, so then I decided to read it, and then I was traumatized by the werewolf stuff, but it was still a fun time. So traumatizing but in a fun way, you know. I don't know if that makes sense, but you know, that's what it was, I guess. Then I listened to The Mystery Guest, another book series that I wanted to finish, because this one was like this one was the second book in the series The Maid, where it's about Molly the maid, who's a maid in a New York hotel. I think it's New York, and she finds all those dead bodies and all those secrets, and like, she's always getting accused, but she's not actually the bad guy, but she's trying to figure it out. And honestly, this is just really like cozy mystery, I feel like, not very like spooky and scary, but Molly is just kind of hilarious, and I really like her as a main character. So you know, new book is coming out. See, I hate this. I'm finishing series and then a new book is coming out, and I'm like, I was continuing with the series so I could finish it, and then you put out another book, and I'm like, I care, but I also don't care. Then I read the third Percy Jackson book, The Titan's Curse. All I can say about this book is that we got to know my favorite character of the whole series, and that was amazing, and I loved it so much. And that one, I think, is my favorite of the whole like 5 books. I think this one's my favorite because I love Nika so much, actually. And then I listened to the audiobook Tom Lake, which was narrated by Meryl Streep, which was really fun and probably my favorite part of this, because I mean, the audiobook was good, but it wasn't just like one of my favorites. It's basically about this famous actor when she was younger, and then she just like got married and had a very normal life, and but then she's like, it's coded, and she tells her daughters like about like her life when she was younger and famous and actor, and it's kind of fun, you know. It's a good listen while you're doing stuff, so I would recommend it for that, you know. Then I read Percy Jackson, The Battle of the Labyrinth, which is the 4th one, and this one was again really good. I don't know if I love the labyrinth part, but I did love the romance that started to develop in this one, because I still remember that started happening, and I read this in like February, so you know, good times. I decided after months of not reading a single book in that series to go back to Magnolia Parks, because I read the first 2 in 2023 and I wanted to finish them this year. So I read Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home, and after not loving Daisy Hates last year, I was like really skeptical, but then this kind of turned it around, and it was so fun. And oh my god, one of my favorite books probably in the series. I kind of want to reread them and be able to like rank them, because I currently can't. I can't tell you which one is my favorite, but probably the last 3 are definitely my top 3, but I just can't tell you the order. But I loved it. Then I read Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, finally. I think this was popular in 2020, 2023, and I finally read it in 2024. And you know what, this was a very wholesome YA book. Did it kind of make me sad that I didn't have this experience when I was in high school? Yes, I did. But you know, I can be very envious of this main character and be like, oh, this was fun. So that's what I was. The next book that I read was another like memoir, non-fiction, self-help, I don't know, but it was Dear Dolly by Dolly Alderton, which is her next book, and she's just going through a few like columns that she got like emails, and then she answers, like gives advice. It's basically like an you know those podcasts who like you write in for advice and they give you advice. That was like basically that book, just obviously a lot longer, and you know what, it was fun, it was good, and I had a good time reading it, or listening to it, I guess. I can't really complain. Then I read Daisy Hates The Great Undoing. I think this is where really things started to pick up. I just wanted to keep going. I think, if I remember correctly, I don't know. But the best part of this was obviously Julian. Like, duh, I mean, who are we kidding? I mean, look at this. So, yeah, Julian, the man you are, and yeah. Then I read The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez, and the thing is, I had really great expectations for this one because I love all of Abby Jimenez books. And then I just hated it, you know. I was just like, what is going on? Why are you not communicating? Why did you put that plot twist at the end? Like, it just all made no sense, and I did not love it. But I'm still gonna keep going with Abby and Xbox, obviously, but oh well. I read The Worst Wingman Ever, which was, I think, a really short novella that came out on the Kindle book that was free, and I read it in like a sitting, and it was fun. And if you want to like have like, I guess this is coming out too late, but if you want to go like build up your reading, if you want to reach your reading goal a bit quicker this year, read one of those novellas, because there's like 5 in a like series-ish from different like romance authors. And then I listened to Wrong Time, Wrong Place, which was one of the main thrillers last year, and I finally got like the audiobook from Libby. And oh my god, this was so fun. This was one of my favorite thrillers I read this year, I think, because it was just so much going on. And there was this concept where because basically the son killed somebody, and the mum sees it happening, and then she goes back in time each day. She goes back one day, like she's not going forward, she's going backwards, and so she's trying to figure out like what led her perfect son, to kill this person. And the secrets are unveiled, things are happening. It's really freaking good, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much I told my mum about it, and I was like, you need to listen to this. She did, and she really liked it, so you know, great times. Then I read, god, this is heavy, holy shit, but I did read Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. Boy was it sad. Boy was that one sad. Wow. The book that I bought my eyes out to the most. And if you know, you know. That's what I'm gonna say. Because what do you mean? Why? Then I also read Percy Jackson, The Last Olympian. Also, all of these 3 books I'm going to be talking about in one video. So that one was probably one of my favorite videos I filmed, because it was just bang after bang after bang after. So I would recommend watching that video. Anyways, so this is the last one in the Percy Jackson series, and this one obviously ended with a banger. Like, hello, they're all coming together, they're all fighting against this weird evil person, Cronus, and it's happening in New York City, and it was just very, very fun. Oops. Then, a book that was less fun, but so good, was The Winners by Frederick Bachman. I'm so glad I finally read it and annotated it, the crap out of it. Did I get mad at the ending? Because why would you do that? Like, we all knew what was going to happen, because you basically know what's going to happen from the first one. Like, there's so much foreshadowing. But still, why would you do that? But still loved it, and I've been back with the characters, and I'm really sad it's over. Then I did a book where I couldn't decide on what books I was going to read, but somebody else did, and that was really fun as well. And so I read Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. Oh, can't believe I annotated some stuff in there. That's kind of funky. But yeah, this was great, like YA, I guess that's fiction, or just fiction, I guess. There was some romance, but it wasn't like the main part. And Alice Oseman just really is a great writer, and like just writes really good stories, and I just need her to keep writing further, I feel like, because this was so deep and still so lovely, and I loved it. But then I had to read A Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Finally read that one. Still haven't read Hellbent, which is really bad, which I really should read, but oh well. But you know, this was fun. This was kind of like very complicated, and I did get confused multiple times. I was like, is my brain able to do this? I don't know. I still don't know, because I still feel like I'm very confused by all of it. So yeah. And then I started reading Happily Never After by Lynn Painter, and I did DNF it after like 70%, because I just couldn't finish the last 100 pages, because I was like, I do not care. I just, you know. So yeah, whoopsie. Then I listened to The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth. After everybody told me this is kind of like not the best seller and kind of boring, so I decided to audiobook it. So I was finally getting it off my physical TBR, because that was one of my main goals for this year, and I do think I succeeded-ish in it. Well, I don't know. But anyways, this was a good audiobook. Love the accent, because it was set in Australia, which was my favourite part of it. Like, it's set in Australia. How fun is that? So I really enjoyed that. Then I read Emily Wild's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and after having so high expectations for it, it really let me down, and it was just like, okay, you know, fine, I guess. Read it, yay. Nothing much else to say about it, to be honest. And then I read the first book in Infernal Vices series, Clockwork Angel, and I really need to keep continuing with the series because I loved it. It was a great fantasy book, and honestly, I just love being back in this world. I don't know, I'm so excited to read like the whole series and then read the rest of the Mortal Instruments, because currently I would obviously say I like the Mortal Instruments more, but I just haven't read more books of them. But I do love like modern urban fantasy, because I just love like an urban world with like more urban or like modern topics, and this one is obviously not that. But I'm excited to see where this could go, and I could see myself really enjoying this one, and maybe even enjoying it more than the Mortal Instruments, because the Mortal Instruments does have huge minus that one still doesn't have, so you know, I don't know if that made it. Then I started a new series that I became quickly obsessed with, and I was very skeptical at first, and then it just kind of blew me away, because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I just bought the ebook and was like, I'm just gonna read the first book, let's see what happens, and became obsessed with it. And that was obviously Binding 13 and the whole Boys of Torment series. Really went through like a whole year of being like, I'm not gonna enjoy this, like I'm just not gonna read it, and then I did. This should be a sign to never judge a book by what you think is going to happen. Like, did I think I was going to hate it? Yes. Did I love it? Yes. So you know what? Read the book you think you're going to hate, because maybe you're not going to hate it. We had some great books in April. Wow. Because we just keep going with the bangers, obviously. Honestly. Because then we read Kristen Hanna, The Woman, which was her new release, and I was obsessed with it. It was so fucking good. It was probably my favourite historical fiction book of the year, and I learned so much more about the Vietnam War that I either did not know or forgot from school. Could be either one of them, because I don't remember that great book. And the name Finley will forever be stuck in my head. Then I read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, also a new release. I did like a video of just reading new releases, and it was one of my favourite videos I get to film, because it was just bang after bang after bang. Because her new book, oh my god, I did not realise it was set in the same world as like her other two books, like Pirate's World and what was the other one called? I can't even look at it now. So I can't tell you. Yours truly. So yeah, it's set in the same world as that one, and oh my god, I loved Justin and Emma together. They were such a good couple. Oh my god. Then I read the new Holly Jackson book, which I guess will not be my favorite by her, like probably my least favorite, but still a great YA thriller, which was like one of my favorite genres of all time, and I will always continue to read her books. And honestly, that plot twist was really like, whoa, twisty. And I did not guess it, I think. I don't think I did. Don't think I did. But yeah, and then we go over to the Queen of the Year, my favourite author of all time, and the love of my life, Emily Henry. And I can't believe we share the same name. Like, that's the first name. Like, that's just so fun. But yeah, this was a really, actually not a funny story. It was really sad. Like, what would you call it? It's a funny story. It was more like a kind of sad story, but in a told in a really fun and loving way, and so good, so good. Loved it. Love it. Okay, and then I decided to start a new series, and that was The Heroes of Olympus. And I was shocked when I read the first page and it started with Jason. What the fuck is Jason? Why would I read something about Jason? And then it's Witch Baby, and it's Witch Baby. It's like, okay, and we did not see a single person. I'm like, okay, what the hell happened? So basically I was just really confused the whole book. But, I mean, it was still a fun book, just highly confused. Highly confused. But yeah, then I could not stop, and I continued reading The Voice of Torment, and I read Keeping 13, which I think is my favourite book of the whole series. Just because it has like that plot twist at the end, and the romance was so good, and it was just a really good story. And I'm like, this book is gigantically long, but still so good, and like never stops, and you're like, this was actually really a quick read, I would say. So, you know, that's admirable. I read The Family Upstairs. Finally, this was also on my TBR thing for like so long, and I finally read it. Another Lisa Joy book. She's one of my favorite authors, like thriller-wise, and you know what? This did not disappoint. It wasn't one of my favorite Lisa Joy books, but crazy cool stuff went down. That's all I can say. Then I read one of the saddest books of all time, and that was The Great Believers. And that is a historical fiction / literary fiction about a friend group living in Chicago in the 1980s, and then AIDS starts to happen, and it's just really sad, but also really interesting. And I loved it. One of my favourite books of the year. Then I read Cultish, was inspired after the last book, like The Family Upstairs, because this is just about cults, but more like modern cults. Like, for example, like Lululemon cult, or like Soul Cycle cult, or you know, that kind of cult, like social media cults and stuff like that. But it was really interesting to listen to, and I did remember some parts of it, which is always a good sign. Then I read some of the saddest books, or like seemed to be some of the saddest books, and one of them was If He Had Been With Me, and this did not make me cry, because you know what's gonna happen like the first page, and then it's just like miscommunication and non-communication and just frustration, and like, no, like, was it sad in the end? Yes, but at the same time I did not enjoy it. Sorry whoever likes it, but I felt like after reading that one, because then I read an actual sad book, and that was The Way I Used to Be, and that was actually punch in the gut kind of sad, and actually made me tear up and fall in love with Eden, because she was just such a strong character, and like, really, this was so much better than the other one. Like, if you try and decide between the two, read this one, please. It is a lot sadder, but also so much better, and you get really inspired by the main character, I feel like, in the end, you know. And then the second one came out, but I'm going to talk about that later, but that was also really good. Because then I read also Saving Six, another sad book, and this one made me definitely cry the most from the three, because it was about Joey and Aoife, and like their like first book, and oh my god, Joey is really going through it. Like, he is just doing everything he can, and it's really hard to watch, like him just trying his best. He really is trying, and it's just, oh, you just want to help him, but you can't, and nobody else is helping him, and it's just like, no, help him, but he's just helping everybody else. Then I read One Dark Window, new fantasy series, and this one I read in July because the weather was shit, absolutely shit, so I decided to read this very autumnal book in the middle of summer, because that's the weather it was, so love that. But yeah, really good fantasy. I really enjoyed it, and honestly, for the fact that it was a duology, so I really soon after read Two Twisted Crowns, it was a great story, and I do think I enjoyed Two Twisted Crowns a little bit more, just because there were more POVs and stuff like that. And this next one was just a bit more just a bit higher, but great duology, really enjoyed it. Glad I read it, you know, glad I read it. Then I did another reread. It was really the year of rereads, I would say, and I love it. You know what? If you love a book, reread it, because it's like one of the best feelings ever, and it's free, and it's great, so just do it. Because yeah, I read Book Lovers again, and I did Annotated, which was also really fun, and I loved it. I should probably take that one out. But yeah, great story, and I love it so much, and I really am a book lover to the core, like Nora, and she is my favourite character of all Emily Henry characters. But yeah, then I finally read the second one in the Heroes of Olympus series, and the sigh of relief I felt when I saw this pop up is like actually crazy, because oh my god, the excitement was very, very real, and I was just so excited to be back with those characters, you know, and it was really, really, really fun. But yeah, Percy, I'm so glad you're back. Then I read the second one in the Family Upstairs duology, I guess, and that was The Family Remains. Was this a bit like, why is there another one? Yeah, but you know what, I love like keeping going on with the series, because at least I know the characters. I know I'm gonna probably enjoy it on some level, and that is all I can hope for at this point in life. So you know what, really enjoyed it, great book, would recommend. And was it not as good as the other one, obviously, but still, I like being back in the world of England. Then I read the second one in the Friendzone series, and the Happily Ever After playlist, and you know what, it was a bit better than the Friendzone, but I was still so mad at the plot twist in the end of the Friendzone, and like why that book even existed, and so that was just kind of that. But you know, I was kind of glad I did read it, and I still need to read the last one in the series. I can't believe I did not finish that one this year, which really irks me, but anyways, then I read Not in Love by Ellie Hazelwood, and you know, I was so excited about this book, like oh my god, the anticipation was very real. I was like, need 5 stars, and then it kind of was like a 3 stars, and I was like, oh no, what is going on? That made me so sad, because I was so excited about it. I mean, it wasn't bad, but they're just my least favourite Ellie Hazelwood book so far, and that just made me really sad, you know what I mean? But I still love the cover. It was just really, really a lot of smart in it, like a lot of smart, and I don't know, that wasn't my favorite. And then I read The Housemaid's Watching, the next book in the Housemaid series. So I finished another series. I feel like I finished a lot of series, or like started and finished, I don't know. But I thought I did a good job this year. I don't know. Do judge for me, please. But I finished The Housemaid, and this one was set like 30 years later, and now they're living in a suburban area. And you know when you say like the excitement goes down after you live in the big city and then you move to the suburban area? Yeah, that kind of what happens in this book as well. The excitement just kind of went down. But, you know, not bad, not bad. Then I read Powerful, the new novella by Lauren Roberts, to prepare myself for the next book coming out and stuff like that. And this one was really good, because like, I really enjoyed the main characters, and it was so quick and so short, and just everything you need, kinda. Like, great novella, honestly. 4 stars for a novella, it's pretty good, I would say. Then I read Imogen, obviously, and oh my god, I read this at the end of like a 24-hour readathon where I read all the other books. This really pushed me through, like, oh my god, this gave me like kind of like life, you know what I mean? I was like, oh my god, I can, like, it was just pretty good, you know, it was really good and really fun, and made me giggle and persevere and finish those 24 hours, and that's all you can really hope and wish for, you know, and it did just that, and I loved it for that. Thank you so much. And it was very obviously Imogen. Oh my god, how could you not know? Bruh. Then I read What Lies in the Woods. Another thriller kicked off my physical TBR after a year. Wow. Oh my god, I'm so proud of myself. And this one was honestly really good. It kept me on my toes, and it was really fun, and I love the cover, and I love the colours. And there was some really big shit lying in the woods, like, oh my goodness. Those children really shook me to the core. Let's be real. Holy cow, how can you do that? I don't know. Then I read Betting on You by Lynn Painter, and this one's probably my favourite Lynn Painter book. It was so cute and wholesome, and I loved it so much, and I was like, oh my goodness, I want to be a teenager again and just experience this, but in not in any way in Beth in the movies, just like in, like, it was just lovely, and I loved it. One of my favourite books. And then I read Powerless actually, and I'm still halfway, I need to finish it halfway, like, I was rereading it and just like lost my interest in it, kinda, so I'm still halfway through it. Still should finish it, but now I'm like, I just want to read the next one, so I'm up to date, so yeah, oopsie, fail of me, I guess. And then, oh my god, I read one of my favourite books of the year, like a great treasure I found, because I just didn't expect this to be a 5-star read, and then it was, and it was so good. It could be so good, was so good, like it wasn't like good, it was a will be so good. We will be the best you will ever read, and it really was that, and I loved it so much, and I'm so glad I finally read it, and not finally, but just like picked it up. And it's about 2 queer writers for newspaper in the 1950s set in New York, and I just love anything in New York, to be honest. And then I read, oh, come here, a little bit later, not like right after, but very close followed, the next book in the series, which was You Should Be So Lucky, and I was kind of like, oh, what if this isn't so good, and then it will taint my experience of the first one, but it was so good, and they were so lucky, and I loved it again. It's like the 1960s now, New York, about Eddie and Mark, and just, oh, everything you could wish for, and I really want to annotate those books. The 2025. I'm so excited to write my TBR for 2025 as well. Ah, buzzing actually. Then I read Next of Kin by Hannah Boehm-Young, and I just love Hannah Boehm-Young. Like, she writes some great novels and some great romances, and I'm so glad I read another one by her, because they're just like so woke, I would say. Like, she puts in like difficult themes, mental illness, disabilities, all this kind of stuff that like you wouldn't get in a normal romance, and I'm just like here for like the realness of it. And yeah, I really like the couple as well. Like, oh my god, really good, really good. Not as good as Out on a Limb, but pretty close second. Then I've read or listened to Emily Wild's Map of the Otherlands. Again, trying to finish the series. Realized later that another one was coming out. I was like, damn it! But I'm just gonna audiobook them from now, just so I can be like, yeah, I'm actually like, you know, finishing it. But you know, fun times, lovely accents. I do like Emily as a main character. Just I don't think I can actually read them. I need to listen to them. And then it's actually kind of nice. Then I read, we go to the next stack of books, and it's like we have the last stack of books. That's because I read a lot of Kindle books, but yeah, still, last stack of books. But I read Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. Also, this kind of shows because this is like August, September, October, November, and December, and it's one stack. Was the other were like 4, 5 stacks, and this was just one. Whoopsie! But I read Middle of the Night by Riley Sager, and this was again one of my favorite thrillers because I just love Riley Sager's books, and I'm so excited for this next one coming out. Like, his books just always are great, so I can't really say anything else about it, to be honest. But you know, loved it. All I can say is that I loved it, and great thriller. Then I read Redeeming Six, another book done in the Boys from the series, and you know what, I really enjoyed this one. That was probably my second favorite. I think the whole Joey and Eva thing that I just didn't like the most about that like part of the series is that we just go over so much stuff from Binding and Keeping, so it's just not a lot of new stuff, like you know what's gonna happen, but then we got past that point and then it got a bit good. But that's like my only critique, and I don't know how to fix it. But like in Magnolia Parks it's the same and it doesn't feel the same, versus in this one it does feel like we're just reading the same shit again and again and again. But not Joey's fault that he's second again. Then I listened to Alone with You in the Ether by Otto B. Blake. It was kind of okay. Glad I read it. Glad it's on my physical TBR. Then I read, we'll go into summer reads for like 10 minutes. But we read The Hotel Nantucket by Ellen Hildebrand. So glad I finally finished that for my TBR. And I think it was one of my favourite Ellen Hildebrand books because there was so many POVs, one of her newest books, and just, I love Ellen Hildebrand to read it in the summer. Like, you need an Ellen Hildebrand book every year. And I had 3 this year, which was really good. And I really enjoyed it. Great times. Because next, I read Barefoot by Ellen Hildebrand. This one is even autographed, which is my favourite part, to be honest. Like, it's like she touched that book. It's not copied in, it's not signed, it's autographed. Big difference, big difference. Anyways, so I really enjoyed this book. It was one of her oldest ones, so you know, it was kind of some fun seeing what happened before her newest books, like how she developed as a writer, and she really did develop. Like, there were so many more POVs in the Hotel and I liked it so much more. But it was okay, you know. I'm glad I read it and got. Okay, guys, I'm back. I'm sorry I left, but it was literally my camera died again. I don't know what's going on with the batteries right now, but it just keeps dying. Or maybe it's because I'm talking so much recently. Like, the clips are gigantically long. So, you know. Anyways, let's keep talking about what we just talked about. And the next book, ah, God. The next book I read was Summer Romance by, I don't know. But this was my first book by her. One again, I don't know the first name. Anyways. And I really enjoyed it. It was a good summer romance. Again, I think I expected more because everybody was giving it 5 stars and I just didn't. But like, it was a good, cute romance that I did enjoy reading at the beach. And it was really nice because like, it's about a woman and she could just go to work and just like, she's wanting to like take care of her. Not take care of everybody else, but like her, which was really beautiful. And I really enjoyed that. Then I read Things We Do in the Dark because I was like, I just need something else than like the beach. And sometimes I do love a thriller at the beach. It's just quick and easy, and this was really good. I just love a book of the month. That's like, they're always just good, you know, or like decent. And this one was decent again. It's about a con artist, like Paris Peralta gets arrested because she supposedly killed her husband, but then you learn about a whole lot of backstory, and it's really fun. And it's set in Canada, and I really like it. Like, if it's not set in fucking America, I'm like, yay! Not because I don't like America, just because it's like something different, you know, like Australia, Canada, England, yay! Give it to me. Never Germany, but that's okay. And then I read Swan Song, which was Ellen Hildebrand's newest book, and that just came out that summer, obviously. And it was such a good book again. It was a good ending because it was her last book in the like Nantucket series. A lot of characters we knew from other stories came back, which I also enjoyed like a lot from the Hotel Nantucket. And it was again a lot better than Barefoot, which really shows like she's really like getting better and better when she's writing, and it was a really good book, I'd say. Then I listened to the audiobook Only If You're Lucky, which is about 4 college students, and one of them goes missing, and they're like trying to hide what happened, and there's a lot of mystery. And at some point I remember listening to it outside and like just like walking around and being like, oh. So that's what I remember from that book. Then I did something scary because I read Red Rising by Pierce Brown, which is the first in a really long series, and I read again the great things about it, and then I just had it on my physical TBR for way too long because I got way too intimidated, and I still am. But you know what? It was very confusing and definitely not my favourite of like books I've read this year. Very confusing. I was like, I don't think my body and my brain is capable to read that. And then I read another intimidating book, which was Circe, by Madeline Himmler, and I really enjoyed this one. It was the book that was on my TBR the longest, so I read the book that was on my TBR the longest. I don't know which one it is now, but that one was that before. And you know what? I'm glad I read it. It was not as good as A Song of Achilles, but a great story nonetheless, and I really enjoyed it. And I read a lot again. I just love historical fiction. Then I read All the Young Dudes when I was moved to England, because I was like, when you move to England you can start reading them again, because it's the fourth time, and I did. So I read all three of those books. I already talked a lot about them, but they're my favourite books of all time. I love them so much. It's about the Marauders from Harry Potter, and you need to read them. They're free on AO3, so go read them. But I did get the physical editions for Christmas, and I love them so fucking much, and I'm so happy I finally have them. And then I was like, I was done, and I was like, I don't want to be done. So then I decided to read those three massive books. They're massive. They're 2,000 pages in total. Over 2,000 pages. Again, in serious POV, because this is about Remus Lupin's or Moniz POV, and then in serious POV, which I do feel like was really nice as well. So I love that one. And so I read like 4,000 pages in the span of 1.5 weeks. It was a good time to be alive. But those books you could just like binge so quickly, and I love it so much. Then I read Choices, another fanfiction, where this time it's about James and Regulus from the Marauders, or part of the Marauders, and it was again so good, but one of the saddest ones I've read, because we all know how Jane's story ends. And if you know, you know. Anyways, then I decided to re-listen to all of the Harry Potter books. They're the months of October and November, and you know what, it was the best time ever. Like, honestly, my favourite time of the year probably, and partly that was because of the Harry Potter books, but yeah, listen to all of those. I can't really say too much, except that the third one is my favourite. It's just the best one, in my personal humble opinion, and if you're wrong, if you disagree, you're just wrong and bad and what the fuck's going on, but those are just the best ones to ever exist, and I love them so much, and they're great. And like I said, love them so much. Favorite books of all time. Then, well, obviously listening to all the Harry Potter books, but you know, like off and on, I guess. I read The Kiss Curse because it was Halloween, and I decided to read a Halloween-ish book. That was the only fall-ish book that I read, except like Harry Potter, obviously. But I'm glad I kept going with the series. It was really fun. It's about witches and a curse, and you know, fun times. Then I finally read The Picture of Dorian Gray, so I would be able to watch the movie with my advance. That was highly disturbing, and same with this book, highly disturbing, and I had to Google multiple times what was going on because I was so fucking confused, but you know what, it's fine. Read it. Then I also read The Well of Loneliness, which was another classic that I had to read for school, but you know what, it was okay. It was a bit sad, but okay. I also read Maurice for school, which was another classic, so I read loads of classics that time of the year because of school, or uni I guess. But this one was one of my favourites so far of the three I read, just because it was just a little bit more wholesome. It's about it's about Maurice, who's gay, in the 1920s, yeah, I think 20s, 10s, 20s, and he's just like, for it being at that time, like he still managed to find some sort of happy ending, and it's really wholesome, and I loved it, and I'm really glad I read it. Then I read Archive's Baby, another fanfiction, but you have to take all these because they are like literally like 500,000 words, which is like 700 pages, no, not 5, so like 1,000 pages, like it's gigantically long, so I need to say it, because you know, it was like a lot, and that one was also so good, and after Magnolia Parks Into the Dark, this was the book that I cried to the most. I like the ending, oh, it just kept destroying me for 2 hours, it just like boom, 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 it just never stopped, you know, which was really sad, and I loved it so much, actually. And then I read Taming 7, finally finished the Boys of Torment, and I did not like this book actually being acted. I might like keep continuing it when the next book comes out, but so far I just couldn't deal with all the meanness from Lizzie, and just like, it was so repetitive, and I was like, I don't know, it just kind of made me hate it, and I was like, I need to stop because I don't want to hate the other 4 books, because I love those, but that one I just hated, honestly. And I was like, it's probably going to be a 3-star, no, it was a 1-star, and that's a bare minimum. Oh well. Then I read the third one in the Heroes of Olympus series, which was The Mark of Athena, and that was definitely my favourite. The plot twist was just amazing and whoa and shocking, and I still think about it. And then I read The Way I Am Now by, like, that's the second book in the Way I Used to Be series, and it was really nice getting some sort of closure, and I really enjoyed that part of the book, that I did get that closure, and yeah, that was really good as well. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really need to go to work now, so that's why I'm a bit, you know, But I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed talking about all my favorite books of the year, and there were so many good ones in this year. And I feel like I didn't get like a loads of like 6-star reads. Like I'm not like, oh my god, new obsession found, and like maybe 2. But most of them were above like 3 stars or 4 stars. Like I found so many good books. You know, like most of them, like literally 90% are probably over 3 stars. So you know what, I consider that a success as well. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I see you in the next one. And yeah, bye guys, bye. I need to get out of this prison I built by myself.